I've worked till now, and what my entire let's say journey is till where I am today. And so that you understand where I'm coming from and how I'd like to be connected to this project. Of course, let me explain to you that I passed out of school 1990. I went to architecture school 5 years, and I kind of graduated. There was no architect in my family. I'm the first architect. My father was in the army, and he was in the armored corps. So I had a choice to set up my own career, and he said, "You do whatever you like and enjoy it." So I took to architecture. First 2 years, which was all structure and mathematics and a lot of physics, was not something that I would like to recall. Also, it was a very unpleasant time for me, I think. But third year was design, and after third year, I think I started loving the subject. So third year onwards, a lot of design kicked in. There was a great amount of synergy I felt with, and there was. I took to it like water to fish, and I think I started enjoying my work. Once I graduated, I realized that I'd have to, I worked for about 6 to 8 months with Aga Khan Awardee landscaper, Mr. Ravindra Bhan, who's God bless his soul, he's now gone up. But he taught me a lot of detailing and very, very, very painstaking workmanship. And I realized that if I needed to do something, I needed to launch off on my own, because I was not going to be able to work in an office and learn as well as design. I'd only do design, I realized. So I created my own firm, and from then onwards, it's been 25 years. I've been working on my own. I don't have a partner, and I started doing construction as well at that time. So I started doing turnkey projects from 2000, about 2096, 97 onwards. I started doing turnkey projects, and I enjoy doing homes, private homes. So what I've specialized in over the last 22 years or so is I only do private homes now, private homes and boutique hotels. That's what I enjoy doing, because my engagement level with the client is maximum. I don't like doing retail and industrial and corporate offices, because you don't know who the end user is. So I don't enjoy that. I like to know who the end user is. I like to engage with them. I like to design for them. I like to make a difference in their lives with the design, that input that I put in. And I don't mind all the time that takes for this kind of work, because a lot of architects and a lot of designers kind of shy away from detailing out a lot of doing residences, because they're everybody who's doing a house, whenever you all have done houses, you'll realize that you get very involved, and you may be whoever you are, but you have no choice but to engage with your architect and interior designer when you do your own private house. Whereas it's not the same when you're doing it for your factory, or you're doing it for your office or commercial establishment, or etc., retail outlets, which are purely mathematical. I think they are a budgetary restraint, and the spatial need is what develops that kind of a design brief. Whereas, so I basically found that I enjoyed engaging with people, and suggesting to them and advising them on what they should do for their homes. And so it's been a long journey, and I've done many homes. Fortunate enough to be doing a lot of let's say HNI's homes and upmarket homes, etc. But I do my bit for social work, and that is just for my personal satisfaction. And I don't really because I'm doing only high-end homes and very let's say homes which have very high finishing qualities and rates. I don't really get to see too much of what's happening around in the normal architectural world at levels of different places, because everybody's homes is a dream home and everybody wants to do a dream home. So they put in their money which they've saved, and they put in their best, and they want to make a statement. They want to create a a home which is very which is the best in their sense of design and aesthetics and finishes. So I engaged, in the last 7-8 years, I realized that there's a time that I'd like to now give back to my profession and give back to society. So I've been on my own personally giving, time and effort and, commitments to social causes. So I had mentioned to Rachna that I'd worked with Udayan Care. I engaged with them on their properties here in Delhi through Meera Sani, and I have I have another school which I'm doing for girls, which is in Jaipur, just off about 60 kilometers out of Jaipur, which was also a private trust. I have also I'm engaged with another project which is in Faridabad, which is another Sai Baba temple, which is about 2,000 students. They're being fed, taught, clothed, tutored, upskilled, all for free. That's in a family concern. My brother-in-law owns it, and their family has been doing it for many years. So to come to it all, there's you feel like giving back, and this project of yours, I think that it would definitely not be of very high commercial value to me, and it's not going to be something that is akin to something which I normally do. But I'm interested to help you all out and to make a difference to everybody who's going to be an occupant in that environment. So that's why I'm actually drawn towards this project, and I'd like to help as much as I can. I am basically based out of Dehradun. I have a studio office there. There were 2 people, now there's 1. But I am doing projects in Dehradun, and I think that I can actually help and assist in this project of yours, rather than take it on as a profitable venture. Because the experience that I have, I think I'll be able to provide you with guidance and direction. So that's where I'm coming from, and you will understand that. And I don't work. And one more thing is that I've not worked with any developers or builders. I stopped working in 2003 with people like Salcon and Uppals and etc. because I found that they did not have very good intentions, and they didn't work and design for an end user. They just built, developed it quickly, made their profits and sold out. And those kind of people I didn't really work with. So I only work with owners now. And boutique hotels, which I've been doing, are very varied. That's the fun part of my work. So I do heritage properties, I do renovations, I do up to 45 keys or suites as we call it. I do wildlife camps. I do forts, havelis, all that kind of stuff, which is fun. So I enjoy doing that kind of work. I have done a couple of projects in Jodhpur, and presently doing work in Rajasthan. Mostly it's in Rajasthan. All these lovely projects can only happen mainly in Rajasthan. So the variety of these projects is all family-owned or ancestral-owned, homes, and the financial packages for any of these projects. And I'm doing a lot of homes right now, actually, which I won't bore you with, but I'm doing farmhouses, plotted developments, private homes, flats, the whole works. And just so you understand the spectrum of work, that there is, any typical home, farmhouse in Delhi would be, 2.5 acres plus about 10,000 to 20,000 square feet. Average rate of construction would be 10,000 rupees a foot. So you can gauge what's happening. That's the farmhouses. I've done homes for 25,000 rupees a square foot. So this is not that I'm trying to tell you that I've done very expensive projects. This is the kind of projects that I'm used to doing. Anything over 8,000 rupees a foot to 25,000 rupees a foot, including the interiors and the furniture and etc. etc. So that's where I come from. But I understand that you have a very tight budget, and that you are looking for a person who can provide you services which are beyond just design. You're looking for somebody who can help you determine the possibility of liaison, project management, design, supervision, advisory, strategic decisions. So coming to that, of course, right now I'm also I do 2-3 projects which are presently on, which are very large projects. There's one project which is which I'm on presently, 2-3 projects which are very large projects. They are over 1 million square feet in covered area, about $1 billion project in Ludhiana, mall, 600 apartments. So I don't do that personally. I'm the strategic core team which will look after the management and control of this project. So and there's another project which I'm doing in Delhi, which is again a very interesting project. It's on 6.5 acres, historical references, and it's a global corporate office of a large $1 billion auto company. So I choose my projects. That's what I'm trying to say to you. That I choose the projects that I do, and I engage with the people who will be talking to me for that project. I need to get onto them on a wavelength which is sympathetic to them, to understand whether our frequencies match, whether we will be able to talk to each other, whether they are looking at the same priorities which I am looking at. Can it be a two-way understanding and a dialogue? That's what I'm interested in. I don't want to design for people who have, got no say in the matter, and who do not have any, let's say, preferences. There are a lot of clients who just have the money today, but don't have the preferences or the style in mind, and they say, you do whatever you like. That's not the kind of briefs that I'm looking for. So your brief, and for this project, I think will be a challenging project, but I'm looking forward to engaging with a lot of you to understand this project, because it will actually teach me something. I have not done any schools. I have not done any homes like this. I have not done any hostel accommodation like this, or anything like this. This is my first project which I'll be endeavoring to do. I'm going to learn on this project, and I'd like to do it. I don't know what you'd see as my strengths in this, but I think that there is a certain amount of experience and understanding I can bring to this project, and I'd like to actually learn about how to make a building and a project and design it in such a way that it can actually run a full life cycle. This is one of the few projects, I think, where you are concerned about what will happen in 15 years or 20 years after the project is built. And that must be actually designed for today. You are looking at a project where the life cycle is not just a design, build, transfer kind of a project. It's actually a design, build, and maintain, occupy, and it's going to be something where you will have to maybe even consider how the next generation to the next generation. So you're looking at least 15-20 years, maybe longer, of how this design will yield to its parameters, to how it could help evolve. The design has to evolve with time. It's going to transform itself, and that's what is interesting for me. So that's where I come from, and I'll just show you a very brief slide deck of maybe 2-3 projects which are residential, so that you get an understanding of where I'm coming from, and then I can get onto the discussion about your project and how you'd like to work on this and understand more about the project at large. Also, my financial companies and my companies don't take projects which are directly into the company. All projects for me are basically handled financially by the client themselves. I do not have large companies which will handle something like this. I have only proprietorships which are below the threshold of the 40 lakh limits for GST. I don't intend to having large companies where I have to run construction costs through them. So typically for all clients that we manage direct payments from the owners to the vendors or to the contractors. And I look after the billing and the supervision and the quality checking and the assurances, and then I tell them who to pay and what to pay. So if your understanding is basically about how I operate, it's I don't operate through my companies. I operate directly through the client and the vendor or the contractor. So there is an entire chain. Only design fees come into my firms. And as you can understand, the farmhouses and personal houses and homes and boutique hotels have a lot of payments which are of a different type. So a lot of clients choose to pay various modes of payment, and that has to be dealt with and catered for. And so that's how we work. So actually you'll never get to know the price and the cost of a project that I am involved with, because there are always gray areas and there's only a certain, sometimes just the tip of the iceberg which is shown. But I'll just now like to share my screen with you, and I'm not very good at Google Meet, so let me just
You'll find present now on the right side corner, if you can see, bottom corner.
Yes,
present
yeah.
now.
Yeah, perfect. Okay.
So just click on that and click on share my screen instead of making it.
Yeah, got it.
Share the whole screen instead of sharing a window.
Yeah, I think a window will be better, because then I can just show you. Let me just check.
Yeah, as you feel.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, just give me a second, please.
Sure.
But I'm open to your feedback now while I'm just searching for this, if you like. On my.
If you can share something about your land experience also, because
sure.
You have.
Yeah, I'll just do that. Sure. Okay, can you see?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you see?
Yes, we can.
Has it shifted? I mean, has it changed?
Yes. We can see your window
screen. So can you see the whole thing, or can you see dark sides on the edges also? Or can you just see the exact sheet?
We can see your presentation, PowerPoint.
You can see, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So this is
it visible to everyone?
Yes.
Arvind? Yeah.
Okay, great. So this is a typical house that we had done. I had done in Delhi. It's a brick finish, Dholpur, moldings and cladding.
Arjun, put it on slideshow, please.
I put it on slideshow. It is already on slideshow. Is it too small?
No, we can't see. We can just see some projects portfolio. That's it. The first screen, I suppose.
The first slide, but it is not on slideshow. We are seeing all your slides on one corner and your slide on this. So it's not on a slideshow. It is just the PowerPoint.
Oh, you can't. Oh, okay. Just 1 second. Okay. let me just see.
You have the slideshow
Mohit,
option on the
Arvind,
top.
and Sandeep, since we have been interacting with Arjun, so please, we have also already asked so many questions to Arjun. Namrata, please ask questions. Namrata also was there in one of our interactions, so please. We shared our presentation with all our questions to Arjun. Since he was not there in expression of interest and he did not submit as like others did. So, and with Jaiveer's recommendation, we have shared whatever we shared with others, and we have requested for him to make a presentation for us.
Yeah, this is not coming through,
You do your don't do window.
Yeah, just do normal screen, right?
Do normal screen.
Yeah. So I'll just close this and then just go into slide view. Now can you see?
Yes.
Is that better? Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So now is that clear? Can you see?
Yes. Now we can see the. Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
So just one of the projects we've done in Delhi, which is brick clad and has Dholpur on it. It's basically this is what I was thinking. In terms of the finishing to be maintenance free over time. I think the FRI kind of building or the Doom School building with brickwork and a little bit of trims of plaster and moldings of stone would be, and the quota would be fine to look at as an external area. This is basically some of the projects. I'll just run you through which I think are some of the projects. This is that house in Dehradun which I've done. Verandas, large verandas with which can protect the building from the rain as well as they utilize. They give you space to enjoy the rains and the monsoon, as well as a lot of outdoor activities are normally done in winter in the sun in an open area. So you need to design for Dehradun specifically, keeping in mind the seasons: winter, summer, monsoons, and a lot of these are done. This is another building photographed from outside. So the point is that in Dehradun, I think technically you will need a lot of areas which are maintenance free, which can create a transition between the open areas and the indoor areas, and would require. So this is another farmhouse that I've done, which is also stone clad. It's a more contemporary fusion style work. This is the kind of projects that I like to do. I fuse design, which is modern and classic. So this is 2.5 acres. It's about 18,000 square feet. Footplate is about 8,500 square feet. It's in Western Greens. It was a large project. Took about almost a year and a half. And logically, what happens is in a design project, large projects like this, I prefer to design the entire building first to the detail, including selection of tiles and selection of fittings and fixtures and everything. I mean, there should be nothing left. Your sizes of doors, windows, finishing, external finishing, internal finishing, lighting, air conditioning, everything has to be decided and put onto the virtual, let's say, modeling of that project on a computer. And then when you actually break ground, you don't wait for anything really, because all decisions are taken. There is no need for anybody to interact. Everything has been signed off on. Budgets have been estimated and made almost accurately with a little variance of about 5%, 7%. And then there is no reason why a contractor has to halt work because decisions can't be made, or I'm not available, or you're not available, that sort of a thing. So I've realized over the years that the more time you spend making the entire file and its detailed drawing and specifications and selection of material, the faster the build happens. So when the build is not delayed by any reason, budgeting is pretty accurate. And so this is the kind of finishing that we do. We do bespoke work. We do a lot of work which is specifically for people's designs, and every individual has to have their certain style of work. They want to customize it according to their taste. So in homes, I've done a range of work. I'm just showing you a couple of them where you'll see the kind of detailing that is done, and I think detailing is the key. If you do detailing of a project and its finishes, it just brings it so much to the fore. You need to you need to understand how each stone is being fitted, because it shouldn't, like if in this facade you see the size of the stone has been decided, and is what is typically available. It's not that we've cut it to a certain size. So interiors, external areas, this is interior project where there's paneling. It's again fusion. It's got a classical look but a modern sort of a scenario. If you understand what I'm saying, that there is these are high finishes and high level of finishing works that are done, but it basically means that you need to really think it over. You need to work out your every little corner, every little square inch, every little detail, every cupboard, closet, window, door, kitchen, utility, store, water treatment, rooftops, solar panels, gardens, entry access, security, everything. So I think that that's what I'm going to share with you. You've understood the kind of anything does anybody want me to go back to any slide to see anything? This is the kind of work that I'm presently doing, which I was telling you, this is the large projects that I'm on right now. It's basically 12 lakh square feet. It's almost $1 billion. It'll have 16 acres of development. So I will be assigning and appointing with the owners. There are 4 owners. I'll be appointing the architect. I'll be appointing the project management team. I'll be appointing, the consultants. And this is going to be a lead program, certification lead. We'll try. Platinum may not be possible, but gold, yes, we will definitely try for. And so I believe in a sustainable footprint. I believe in saving water. I believe in using the least resources possible. That's the kind of work that I'm doing, the whole spectrum of work that I'm doing. And I've done of course heritage buildings and Havelis and that sort of stuff. So but that I won't go into very much of detail of, because I think there's no end to the kind of work that detailing I can show you. But I'm open to questions, and then I can keep taking you back and forth from what I think about this project of yours and Dehradun scope. So any comments, please?
Yeah, very good, Arjun. Thanks for sharing your work. And it looks like a matwalon ka kaam. So hum bhi matwale hi hain. So you'll find that probably the things that you have done, we are going to ask you for the same things in very less money. So and you will not have opportunity to have so many consultants and so many other people. So we'll say that this much money we have, and these are the users, and our users. To work with our user is like an excellent opportunity. Design and autism has wonderful connections, and you'll find there were, and especially with the sensory dysfunction, you'll find a lot of opportunity to do something different. But at the same time, we are have limited money and limited resources. So this very well.
Yes.
So The kind of projects and the kind of square foot construction cost and the kind of square foot overall cost is beyond imagination for us. So yeah.
I understand, of course.
तो भी वो भी मतवालों का ही काम है, so मतवाले ही ढंग से होगा, I'm sure.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, absolutely.
Any other?
I think, yeah, I think also that Dehradun is well chosen by you. Of course, we spoke last time, and you've already got a home which is functioning there, and in Sinula Gaon. And I saw your entire, the Arunima full 38 page presentation I've been through, and understood what all you're looking at, and the design brief that you've given about how many people, how many caretakers, how much built up area, how much office space, dining space, recreation space. I've got that entire brief, and I've understood that brief that you're talking about. It's basically very interesting for me to understand, and I'm hoping to learn about all the details that you mentioned. But you're looking at 28 residents and 14 staff, plus of course some support staff externally and the office people who may come and go, right? So I think Dehradun is a good place to find. It's very good climate, and not very cold, not very warm. I think you will have a problem with picking up and selecting land. That is where I think you'll have an issue. I have sent out feelers to my people because we do employ a lot of people in our projects there. I'm presently doing about 4 projects in Dehradun. 2 for NRIs and 2 in town, but they're based in Delhi. So I think if you can pinpoint your land, I don't know whether I can help you purchase the land, but I can guide you towards the land. The way that I think would be that if you can pick up land which has got the certain road width, like we discussed last time, Rachna, road width, availability of access, resources, convenient, local shopping, hospital, etc. I think that the rates now that are there in these areas are where Bharatwala and Vishgaon and where we are, where I am in Kaljawadi, they're all pretty expensive now per biga. In fact, it's now gone to per gaj now. They started selling it as per gaj. And Salangaon. So wherever there is an R3 high density, as it is now, there's only 2 types. There's either a residential or a high density residential in Dehradun. The other land master plan has now changed. So getting a broad road is a big problem, because you won't be able to really develop what you're trying to develop as a multi-unit, multi-story sort of a unit development program unless you have the right MDDA permissions and sanctions. And that's all dependent on a road and the land use. So getting land is going to be a big challenge for you, I think. And as you all are, some of you already in Dehradun, you must have been trying for a long time. MDDA and getting sanctions and permissions is not a problem. And that is something that is quite under control, let's say, by me. I have strong connections, and there are people who are liaison agents. They take their pound of flesh and they push your file through, and we've used them. They can produce the results, but of course you have to be absolutely in the clear. You can't have any issues with the property or the ownership or the type of building that you're doing, and it has to be legal. So if the MDDA finds out that you're trying to do something which is not as per book, then you are in serious trouble, because you'll have a lot of people who try and make money out of you by just putting in complaints, and then you go into a feeding frenzy for getting people off your back, which is not worth it. Construction costs in Dehradun will be a little higher depending on the kind of contoured land that you get. I would suggest that you try and find a flat piece of land, because development costs and infrastructure costs of retaining buildings and land on a sloping hillside is really excruciatingly expensive. Retaining walls, dangas as they're called over there, stone dangas, are exorbitant now. I mean, they used to be cheaper because stone was very easily available. Now to build any retaining walls is going to take you, half of your budget will go in there for development costs. And with the kind of, with autistic children and autistic elders, adults as I may call them, you need to have a flat sort of a land so that there's not much of, variation in levels. And I would, like we were discussing last time, Rachna, I think that you should definitely make a stilt level because that would give them a veranda. You won't use it for vehicles. You'll use it basically for the occupants. Vehicles should be parked in a very designated zone and not allowed to come inside. They will be towards the road. You can have a setback from the road on your frontage or a designated area for parking, and everything else is actually, pedestrian. Only emergency vehicles will be allowed to come inside the campus, as in internally. God forbid if a fire engine or an ambulance needs to come in. But I think stilt and 2 floors is the maximum that you should go to. Typically, stilt and 1 floor is what would be nicer, because when you go to the 2nd floor, you'll have to have lifts and ramps.
That's fine, Arjun. But since and we shared also that we are looking for somebody who can help us with the turnkey project, where we are talking about land, design and build all together with all kinds of permissions and everything done within the money, that 8 crore rupees that we have, everything included in it. And we know all these problems that you said that we have been discussing for years together, and we have been looking for land also, for many a times, but and many times we failed also. The very fact that we don't have land, that means, which says that yes, we could not succeed. But then we are looking for solutions now, that in case we have this much money, then what kind of land, what kind of building, what kind of services we can get, so that we get this project becomes a reality. So do you think you can suggest a solution for us where we have this thing? You know our constraints, and despite this, you said that yes, you will be happy to be associated with us and work for us. So do you think that we have a solution, and we can go ahead with the solution if we see a hope?
Yes. So I think that everything can be managed. Apart from whatever is required to make this project a reality, except for the land purchase. And I can't really help you to. I mean, I can try and lead you to certain land. That's what I was coming to, and that's what I was trying to come to. That the balance, project stages is not really an issue. Design, build, construction, supervision. Liaison, getting it organized, looking after it, maintaining it, because I will be staying, I intend to stay in Dehradun long term. I intend to settle there and, spend at least, not the summer maybe, but yes, a lot of time in Dehradun at my place. I think the land is the only issue, Rachna, where you will be up against a wall. And I can help you, but I can't find a solution, I'll be frank with you.
Excuse me, Arjun, just one question.
Please.
Can we do a backward calculation? We know the square feet area we require, and tentatively, what would be the cost as per our design for that particular area?
So the cost is something which is very difficult to really determine.
Per square feet rate, journal idea, that's it.
You can do it in about 2,000 rupees a foot, I think would be an appropriate square footage to put in, You'll have to work in 2,000 rupees a foot. I don't think you have a choice.
But do you think 2,000, I suppose it would be a higher level? What I was thinking was somewhere around 1,400, 1,500, because we are not going in for very high-end, things.
I think, 2,000 rupees would include your auxiliary areas as well. It's not just that you'll be building, say 14,000 square feet of habitable area. You'll be building if you build 24,000 square feet, at the average you may go to 1,000 rupees somewhere, but you will go up to 3,000 somewhere. It all depends on how much you need to finish certain areas of. The kitchens will cost you much more. A commercial grade kitchen will cost you a lot of money, but the square footage area is minimal, but you will have a higher valuation there. When you build the toilets, they'll go higher, but your open halls and your stilts will cost you less. So I think that you need to really not worry about the finances right now for the construction. You need to actually worry about picking
my
up
concern was, we can get it a backward calculation. For example, that we require somewhere around 3 crores for the construction, and we have a budget for 8, so we can think of 5 CR के आसपास for the land or something, and then we can search for the pockets कि जहाँ पर 5 CR के आसपास हमें land मिल जाएगी. I mean, beyond the city limits or something.
So the property prices, and I'm sure the people who are already in let's say in Dehradun will be able to verify, and you've already done your land scouting. I don't think anything will come less than maybe 90 lakhs or 1.5 crore. Between 90 lakhs to 1.2 crores is the rate you'll be looking at for that kind of a location. And so if you're buying 3 acres, 3 acres, you will be looking at 3.6 is your fund for land, I think. Then you'll have charges on top of that. And if it's not developed, then you'll lose money on developing it also. So I think that you may have 5 CR as in you're thinking you may have 5 CR in your bank for the land, but it's not just the land that is going to cost you. By the time you close up on a project like this, you'll have to actually divide that budget into, say, 3 CR to 3.5 CR is what you should budget for. Only then will you go and close it at 4, because there'll be a lot of other costs which will come in for land. You need to actually understand where you want to build and how. Legally, you will be challenged because the MDDA, like I was telling Rachna, you should go in for a chunk of land which is basically got smaller plots in it. So it's subdivided, but it's not a subdivision of a plot. It's actually you're buying smaller plots. But then the ownership issue comes up. How do you have Arunima owning all of them? You can't have that. It has to own one project, one land. When you build from a smaller footprint, you get higher FAR and higher built-up areas. So if it's a 500 yard, you will get a much higher built-up area than 3 acres. So this is going to be a to and fro between a CA, the MDDA, and you all. And I can help you try and determine it. But the project actually, if you say Salangaon, it's got a lovely big road, but the property price will start at 1.2 CR. It's got a 35-foot road, which is very rare actually in Dehradun. Galjwadi doesn't have any road, which is 9 meters. And 9 meters is the minimum that you need to do a multi-unit residential development. So you have issues of finding the land. And I think that if you look at even Sinola or you look at Chandroti is an R zone. It's got a broad road, but the prices are phenomenal. Bishtgaon, Bharatwala, also, off the road you'll be 60, 70, 75 lakhs a biga. So on the main road it will go to 1.1, but then the road is still not wide enough, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. But you were saying something about some geo government order or something which
the geo government order is basically what is saying that I haven't got my hands on it yet, but I'm still asked my MDDA person to get it. The geo order says that within municipal limits of the MDDA, within the municipal limits of the city, which stops at Riverstone Cottages right now. and the Nala and the river. You're all aware of Riverstone cottages, I'm sure. It's
Yes, we all are. Yeah.
So that's where municipal limits finish. But I believe it's been extended. And the land rate over there is high. So because the Abhimanyu cricket stadium is there, there is a big broad road going through that whole area, and it goes to Shigali. Now Shigali is something where you can look at, and I'm sure, I don't know whether you've looked at something near Shigali.
Yes, somebody suggested something near Shigali, and it was quite cheap. And very cheap and very beautiful.
Yes.
But the problem is that again and then road is also available. But the problem is again the municipal limit. So in case there is any government order, I don't know, Sandeep, are you aware of some government order which talks about municipal limit being extended?
Have you heard of anything like that? Because I had heard about.
Not as yet. I'll check this out. I'll try and find out.
If you can check, please, because I've heard that the municipal limits have been increased under the new master plan, and the area is now extended beyond Riverstone. If it's extended beyond Riverstone cottages, and see, Antara and all already come into the municipal limits, but anything beyond Riverstone towards Shigali would be very beneficial for you all, because that is cheap. The land is about 60, 65, 70, 75 lakhs a biga, and and the road is pretty wide. So you could actually get 4 bigas or 5 bigas, an extra biga for your money, and then develop on it, basically.
But for that, we need to have a hold on the government order. Unless and until we have that, we won't be able to, do so.
Yes, I agree. Because you all are from different areas in India, I believe. And buying in Uttarakhand is a problem because you'll only be allowed 250 square yards. You can buy even agricultural land. Anybody can buy 250 square meters, and that's 300 yards. So either you do one thing is that, and this is something to consider pretty seriously, because getting land cheaply within municipal limits is not easy. You will have to be extremely lucky to get it. So I think what maybe as a core group you should look at is trying to buy multiple 250 square yard plots, 250 square meter plots, and combining them under different names, but combining each one as a share into a certain trust, because then each person's property is kind of demarcated. At 250 square meters you can build as much as you like. It's quite a bit of FAR and built up area. You are allowed 65% ground coverage. You can go up to a built up area of about 3,500-4,000 square feet, 2.5 floors. But if you build a community like this, you can actually buy land, interspace it with empty plots, and buy plots like this in this place, in Shigali.
But will it not be like this, that in case the plots of smaller size will be demarcated as smaller plots, then we will not be able to build it, pool in together and make a bigger building in there. We'll have to design small row houses.
Yes, you will have to do row houses, but then you don't have to really pool them together. You can actually make them, the residential units could be together. You see, the thing is, you have to play with the bylaws and the MDDA laws, because land ownership is one challenge for you, the other is the MDDA. So if it's a 250 square meter, if somebody buys it, say X person buys it, Y person buys next to it, you are allowed to build. Now you cannot combine those buildings, but they will have an integrated, in front you can have a veranda which is running the front length of it. But the buildings cannot hit each other. They cannot be joined to each other. You have to have them, apart from each other, which will then be the courtyards and the verandas and, the connecting corridors, etc. You can't have a joint building. That you won't have.
So you mean to say, in case we are that you will be able to help us with the construction design and everything, land you will be able to help us and connect with the people. But from your side, you are suggesting that we to make it in this much budget, we should buy a small number of like small set of plots and make a row housing kind of a thing, and you will be
Yes.
able to solve it by design.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will be able to provide you with a solution because it is individually owned. It will be pulled in together. You will have joint resources for maintaining it. See, the maintenance, the servicing, the security, the water, the sewage, all can be combined for these places. It can become like a sort of an organization between the owners. When you buy individually, nobody can stop.
But how do we ensure that one person out in or maybe a person who's in the middle of the row tomorrow will decide to leave the group and will start fighting about his plot being not being part of Arunodaya? Then what are we going to do? He will say, okay, I'm taking my plot and I'm selling it to somebody. Then what are we going to do?
I don't know about that. Yes, that is something which could be a challenge, of course. The thing is,
but you are not aware of any legal procedure using which he can be bound by the laws of the cooperative or the bylaws of the cooperative and says that yes, you can't leave the group.
Yeah.
Is it possible? I'm sure it is possible. I don't know if
I don't know about that. Yes, this is.
But I think Namrata, you also spoke with a lawyer about this, right?
No, not with the lawyer. I spoke with somebody. Again, it came back to the same thing, where a share of 150 square meters share of each and everybody. It would be as a share,
Yes.
And in that case, what I was talking to him was where there would not be a proper demarcation of the particular plot. It would be like the whole area would be registered to Arunodaya, where everybody would be having a 250 square meters part of that particular area without defining that part.
No, that won't be the way it will be done. No, I'm sorry.
Would then again create problems with the MGDA then, because
yes, that will be completely that will never get through the MDDA, because the MDDA will say, as an individual owner, you can own 250 square meters. Agriculture or non-agriculture doesn't matter. As a state subject or an external citizen of India, you can buy 250 square meters anywhere. Yeah. You cannot club it together by just brother, sister, aunt, uncle type of a scenario. Okay, that will be then that will come under seizure. You have to basically, if you can own the property, you will need to come to an associative understanding between the owners. It will not be like a group housing that you can suddenly become a member of. You can't. That's because the property, the MDDA will only give you individual sanctions, not a group housing society approval.
Yeah, but there is a problem actually. I don't know about MDDA, but in Punjab, if you have an individual property, maybe 250 square yards, and you need to go in for an electrical connection, so they come over there, they check the boundary wall, then they see the washroom, then they see the kitchen, and you have to design it that way that every household has a kitchen, a washroom. So the design, it would be something very different from what we are thinking of. Okay, you won't get electrical connection over there. I don't know about the IMDD. I don't know, but this is
you are right. You're right. You're right to a certain level about the electricity connection, but it doesn't have to have a kitchen. You need to have, you can just build one room and a garage and say that this is my own.
That's what I said. I don't know about Dehradun, but for Punjab, it is mandatory to have a kitchen.
Have a kitchen, yeah. So
I don't know about Dehradun.
But when you say one unit, then it has to have a kitchen.
Exactly.
It'll have a pantry, yes. It'll have to have a pantry, at least a notional pantry.
That is what the definition says. In case you are saying it's a multi-unit, then it will have multiple kitchens. If it is one residence, then it will have one kitchen.
Same
The
restaurant, the design will differ. I mean, it will be entirely a different design kind of a thing.
Yes, I think what see, if you want to go for a group housing, it has to be minimum 2,000 square meters, the plot size, and you need to have it approved as a sub-plotted development. But that has a certain requirement for for land use and road access. So sub-plotting is not allowed below 2,000 square meter plots, and 2,000 square meter plots are approximately two bigas plus sort of an area, but that will be expensive again. So I think that what has to be done is, rather than us discussing it and spending time over it, I think what we can do is I can ask my MDDA agent and my lawyer. If you have a lawyer, I'm sure you all have lawyers, please choose the best lawyer. The MDDA agent and I can have a dialogue with each other and then try and find out what is the best way to put this together. I think it can't be done by any one of us individually. We will have to utilize a lawyer and an MDDA person and you all and me to decide really how to do this. It can't be taken a decision on hearsay. I think we need to get our facts very clear.
Okay, all right. So should we? Are there any further questions, or should we wind up?
Yeah, Arjun, just one thing.
Please.
Just realistically speaking, if we were to follow all the regulations and buy it within the municipal limits and with a wide road and everything, how much would it cost? Yeah, what is the what kind of prices are we looking at in Dehradun?
You will be looking at least 1.2 or 1.5 CR in Biga. So you're looking at 930 yards for that much. So 3 bigas would be 4.5 CR.
Okay.
Minimum.
Okay. Thank you.
I think that if you look at that kind of a property, firstly you may not get it. 3 bigas is a large chunk to get. 3 bigas, people will make multi-story buildings on, because it's over 2,000 square meters. So your project value will be weighed against a full, 6 to 12 floored apartment building complex, and you will not be able to sustain that kind of a cost analysis. So you won't get that property because it's already been taken by some builder or the other. Getting 3 bigas, will be very difficult for you. Finding it also will be very difficult.
In case we go G+2, we can even manage in less than 3 bigas. In case we do a backward calculation with 40% ground coverage and G+9 meter of height restriction, we can actually do in little less than what we are asking for. So if we can do some kind of a backward calculation in terms of cost, then we would be able to save money in there and can go little higher instead of making it G+1. So that is possible. In case Arjun, if you can do some of these calculations as well, and if you can help us connect with some of these people, and let's see how we can make this project happen.
Sure, I've already asked some of my people to find property which is between 3 to 4 bigas. There's a lot of property available in this whole area, Bharatwala, Kaljwadi, etc. It's all 60 lakhs to 75 lakhs. Some of it is in the Khalas, and that's like 40 lakhs and 45 lakhs. But to get clear, straight property, is difficult. Road is very difficult. So let's see. I think it's a matter of eliminating parcels of land now, and that will take a certain amount of time. Until then, we can do understanding of calculations, and like you said, you can do backward calculations, but they won't come to much unless you really first find the land. Then you can actually do the other calculations are pretty standard. Then they won't vary really very much. It's the land which is the unknown.
Okay.
Yes, we understand. So let's.
Any other question, please?
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm open to questions or thoughts or ideas or
Arjun, I don't know whether you received our questions which we wanted to ask during the EOI process and all.
Yes, I
have.
did.
You have. So
Absolutely.
you would because today I don't think we got many answers of that. So yeah, there are many questions we got, and I think that all those questions are also very important. But our problem is that we are looking for answers. Do you want to come back again to us someday?
No, you please ask your questions if you like, because I've got the entire your.
No, it's okay. I think you can see these questions, and maybe unless and until land is acquired, our questions will not be answered.
Exactly.
So
Yes.
there's no point discussing the questions unless and until we have the land. But I would still say that there is a possibility in case we can look for cheaper land, have a row housing, have smaller plots, and with the help of a legal advisor, we make our bylaws of the cooperative in such a way that people can't leave if they want to leave with their house, and they are together by some kind of a rules. In case they want their money back, then they are getting their money back if the new person is coming from who has a child with autism or adult with autism. So we have already devised a way of doing it, but at the same time not with the property but with the bylaws. So
Yes,
in case we can look for some kind of a possibility, solving it by row, so you just keep that in mind, and any other solution if you think is appropriate, please suggest.
You actually what you're saying now, Rachna, is there are multiple issues to this project. One is and if I'd like to just highlight it, one is the land and its purchase and subsequent legal ramifications of it. The second is the project. Third is this construction, execution, etc., costs and consultants, etc. The fourth is actually the maintenance of this, and the fifth is actually the transferability. Like you said, if you cannot transfer this and it is owned by a person and they do not have the freedom to transfer it to another person who'd like to come in or exit or enter this area or this project boundary, it would actually make the life cycle of the project very uncertain. Also, you need to understand how to make this project self-sustainable in terms of for the maintenance of it and the security of it, and I'm not talking about what the personal needs are.
Yes, that we have already done with some of the things that we have already discussed, because it will happen only when the present Arunima, the way it is running, we understand that, and then it is being divided or is included in the fees or anything that we will work out. But our first challenge is to really make this happen and support the existing system with our legal bylaws or anything that we are going to have for the cooperative, and really see that how everything is helping us with the present setup of Arunima and the present fee structure of Arunima, so that we can work. And by the time I think we can finish now, and in case anybody else has any question, we'll come back to you, Arjun, and you please keep looking at the lands and other things, please.
Sure.
Yes. Yes, Sandeep.
Please.
Arjun, you there?
Absolutely.
Yeah, just wanted to check this part. Bishgaon, let's say, for example.
Right.
As I understand today, it is agricultural land, correct?
That's right. Yes.
And on agricultural land, you are hoping to get permission sanction from MDDA for whatever multi-unit, etc.
No, you won't get it. No, you won't get it for agricultural. You will only get it for 250 square meters of a personal residential plot, not for a larger plot.
So coming to that, to the best of my knowledge, you can't have your cake and eat it too. if you own it in a personal name, there is no obligation left with Arunodaya as a society. Arunodaya is out of the picture. So you can't have your cake and eat it too. It's your personal property. Nobody can stop you to do what you feel like doing with it.
That's right.
That
Yes.
is my understanding of the law of Uttarakhand at least.
You're right.
But coming back to you saying Riverstone is within municipal limits. Sorry, can I complete?
Please, please.
You said Riverstone is within municipal limits, which I am not aware of anyways. Going beyond, talking of Bharatwala or Bishtgaon or Shigli makes no sense if that is agricultural land, to the best of my understanding today.
Absolutely. You're
So
right.
why should we waste time hunting for land in these areas?
Only if your lawyer can ascertain that individuals can create an association of staying together as 250-yard owners, 250 square meter plot owners. Only then will you be able to.
We started with that very initial stages, that we, let's say 20 people buy 250 each, and you combine it. Now I am not the expert for this, you people will know better. If you are making individual sanctions for each parent's house, MDDA will certainly require some road to be left in between.
Yes.
Like Mohit said, electricity connection would be required for
Yes.
each house, a water connection, and having separate buildings is not the idea which we have in mind to construct what
So,
we really are looking for.
let me clarify on what you're saying. What you're
No,
talking
one more
about.
point, one more
Please.
point, one more
Please.
point, please. Can you explain me at least, I don't know about the others, what is the definition of multi-unit, what do you call it,
Group
multi-unit
housing.
residential? Yeah, how do you define it? What does
So,
that mean?
multi-unit group housing is basically a plot which is over 2,000 square meters, where you will have to change land use to residential, and you will need to apply to change this land use. It has to have a certain width of a road on it, and then you can build within it units which will be sold to XYZ with common, facilities within it. So it's like a semi-development of a small colony, and that is called a division of multi-use projects.
So in your sanction from MDDA, if I understand correctly, each unit will have a separate kitchen.
Yes.
To show it.
Yes.
And Arunodaya as a society, can it buy the entire multi-unit?
No.
So
I
then
mean,
why
it
are
can-
we talking about
And
multi-unit?
no, let me explain to you. You understood a certain part of it. Let me explain to you what I was thinking is that where Riverstone Cottages is directly opposite that, there is 25 acres of land, which was to be done as a deluxe villa development by me. I had done the preliminary concept design for it. There, individuals were buying in and buying 250 square meters plus their lawn areas as another 250
Yeah.
square meters, and all
Right.
facilities were to be pooled in. So it was a gated community that we were being created, circumventing to a certain extent the bylaws of the MDDA. So everybody would have their own, individual, let's say kitchens and residential units, but security, water, softening, transitions, community center, sort of shopping, clubhouse, etc., would have been shared by these people. So that's a villa development. I'm saying for your project, you can, if you come short of Riverstone Cottages and come into the area where Salangaon and Antara and all these areas are, and Chandroti, the property prices will be very expensive. You will not get 3 bighas, 4 bighas in one shot on a big road. You will get it on a side street, maybe. You will get on the main roads, you won't be able to find maybe 3-4 bighas. If you do, that's very good. Then you can go straight in for development. You can just have it in one person's name as a society and develop it fully with units inside as per MDDA permissions. That's the simplest possibility for you. If you don't get this land and you're looking around and time is going through and you'd like to set this up, the other option I said is that if you can look at picking up property individually, that is, but you will get into bylaws issues. You will get into ownership property problems. There will be, of course, setbacks to that solution. It's not a permanent solution.
One more last question, please.
Please.
You may call it what you wish. Practically speaking, we expect 28 friends and 14 staff minimum staying there at any given point of time. And if we are talking about If we are talking about 3 bighas, there will be a gardener and a chowkidar little family also. We're talking about 50 people living. You know the area well. There is no way you will not be called a hostel. My issue from day one has been any neighbor goes and complains. How do you justify it as an individual home or a multi-unit residence? It is an hostel, and don't you think we should have an hostel permission for a setup like this before a neighbor complains, and then you go into legalities with MDDA, ceiling, etc., etc.?
Hostel permission you won't get, sir. Hostel permissions have become very tight in MDDA. After all that stuff that happened near the Petroleum University, a lot of hostels have got shut down. The hostels are basically actually become very, very strict and very tight by the MDDA. For a hostel, you need to have a multi-story building in a certain plot, in a certain road width, in a certain height. So that is not going to happen in this area. You won't get that permission in this area at all. You can't get it. I mean, you need to look at your location. You need to relocate towards the Petroleum University, that area, to be able to look at that option. That is an option. If you are open to that area, that is also an option. Vidoli side, as it's called.
My primary concern was, is that a necessity to have? We can always increase budgets also to remain in this area. That besides the point. Having hostel permission, how important do you feel that is?
I think it's critical.
Can we pass off and talk about it?
I think if you can get a hostel permission or a hostel permission would be critical, because actually then the ownership is with one entity, maintenance, operations, everything is with one agency, and then people can come into that hostel accommodation as and when they require for their relatives. I think your point is a good point. If you can get a hostel permission, you should relocate your point to that Petroleum University site and gain a hostel permission. It would be ideal, much better than trying to do a residential land use.
Because there is always the risk of a neighbor complaining. And with our children, there is this issue of creating noise.
But will service apartments or Antara, will it come in hostel?
No, service apartments is very different. You won't get service apartment. This is not a service apartment. This is a hostel, youth, student hostel. It will be for students and youth hostel. It will come under that criteria. It won't be a service apartment building. The service apartments you can do in any kind of a place, but it doesn't have the same, stipulations. Hostel means that the entity can be owned for 28 children or adults, and the staff, and they are under no obligation really to really own that property. They can come in, they can pay, and then utilize that room or apartment or the services, and then choose to leave. So a new person can come in, or they can exchange it, or they'd like to leave or exit. That whole legal issue of ownership and flexibility is not really there in the hospital.
So we should we any other question, Sandeep?
Oh, that'll do. Thank you.
Okay. Is Namrata, Neeraj? Yeah. So let's see how do we do it. Though I would say that yes, in case we want to have a hostel, then we may have to change the location. We won't
Yes.
be able to get it over here.
won't.
Yeah. So
You the only other place that.
but at the same time, in case I have a residence where a person with disability or 2 or 3 people with disabilities are living, nobody can stop us from owning a house.
No, nobody can stop.
There's
it.
no
Exactly.
law which can stop us from owning a house.
That's right, and you can have a joint ownership of that house. 2 people
Yes,
can own one
despite
house. So.
that all 4 people, those who are living there are not related with each other, not husband, wife or something, and then it is a residential unit.
Yes.
A residential unit is not defined by the composition of the family, but with a kitchen present in the apartment.
Yes,
Right?
and 2 individuals or even 3 can own that 250 square meters.
Yes.
So the option is that you will get. There is always
But in
something
case,
that will.
in case we are not 1 or 2 or 3 people are not owning, and in case the whole thing is being owned by an organization, even that can happen in case we are doing a multiple unit.
Yes. If you require a hostel, you will have to relocate this entire position, because the only place where hostel accommodation is allowed is the Mussoorie Diversion Road, which is very expensive. That will be out of your budget completely for this sort of a project, on the main road. On
But
Diversion
still,
Road.
despite all these difficulties, I would also agree that the hostel permission is best. But at the same time, with all restrictions, we have to look for a way out. In case we are
Yes.
able to get it, then fine. Otherwise,
Let me also try and do some more research work on this, because this is something that will take a little time, maybe 2-3 weeks, to find out about what is the best approach to this from the MDDA point of view, from a legal point of view. I think that if you can identify a lawyer for me in Dehradun, I can engage with that gentleman and the MDDA people contacts that I have, and maybe come to a certain solution about how best to tackle this. Which sort of a project land use to take. That would be, that is the next step I would say that we should look at. Trying to determine land use and best use scenario of that land.
so wonderful. So we know in the next step, in case we are working with you, and we really sincerely hope that we do. So,
Sure.
and at the same time, you also
Absolutely.
have so many things which you would like to clarify, and also we would also like to clarify some of the things discussed amongst our group.
Please.
And also we have some other UI people; those will be presenting. Let's see. I'm sure that after 10 days we'll be a bit more informed about the whole thing.
Yes, I think you.
So 10 or 12 days or so. So let's see. We are also hoping the other people, in case they have some other
Yes.
solution, we can come back and we can always discuss and find out a solution for us.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
All right.
Sorry, guys.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you.
Arjun,
Yes, sir.
I'm going to put you onto another DOSCO. His land is next to Rishabh. Rishabh knows. Vinayak, my batchmate.
Yes, I've heard of him. Hanji, Vinayak. Yes.
Okay. You can start designing his. We were just talking about it.
Okay.
Of
Done.
this
I
topic.
believe even Ali has come next to Rishabh right now.
Yeah, he's there. I can see Rishabh from my roof, and so can he. We are that close.
Okay. Great talking
Okay,
to you
good
all.
night.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
thanks,
a
Arjun.
lot.
So
Thank
good.
you.
All
Bye.
right.
Bye.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. Thank you. Bye.